Welcome back, everyone. Well, as you know, we've been talking a lot over the last couple of weeks about First Night Saratoga, or Saratoga First Night, all the events that happen in the city here on New Year's Eve. And joining me again is Alix Jones, who's a director for Saratoga First Night. Welcome back, Alix. Nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
And part of what I mean by every time I look into this thing, I discover something about it. Joining us also is David Wolf. Now, David Wolf owns a dance studio in Saratoga called the Saratoga Savoy. Welcome, David.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Real nice to have you here as well. I want to cover a couple of things about First Night, but I definitely want to talk about David and what he does, okay? How is it going with the race?
The race is going great. We still have some registrations open. We want people to come out and register early just so we don't get down to the wire. There are no registrations on the day of. And this is a huge event. It's usually sold out, so please, register in advance. You can do so on our website, saratoga-arts.org. It's a fun event. There's lots of food to be had there. There's showers you can get afterwards. The CDTA will do a special bus stop on the Skidmore campus. You can leave your car in place and then come down to see the rest of the First Night events afterwards without any problems.
Good, got you. Maybe it's hard to think about running in a race when it's 0 degrees outside, but I can tell you, as she mentioned it, the race sells out every year. So, register for this race, and like she's saying, they provide showers, even transportation downtown, and then you can participate in the festivities downtown. Speaking of the festivities, David, this is something that I find really fascinating. If you look at American culture, there's an era called the swing era, noted, I guess, foremost for big jazz bands and whatever, but no music is complete without dancing that goes with it. And the swing era, by many accounts, has always been the most interesting, most exciting era in dance. And you specialize in swing.
That's one of the dances I specialize in, yes.
And I just think that's fascinating. So now you started Saratoga Savoy, the dance studio in Saratoga here in 2002.
That's correct.
You did. Why'd you start it?
Why did I start it?
Yeah.
Well, at the time, it seemed like a good thing to do.
That's good.
I actually am originally from Saratoga County. I grew up here. I knew dance was important to Saratoga. I even remember seeing Balanchine at Mrs. London's. That was a long time ago. I was so tall. But at the same time, I thought this would be a great place to start, and was where my family was.
What if you were to sort of describe swing, really as a dance form, how would you describe it?
Well, I like to say that it came from the Harlem Renaissance, so it's really a traditional dance that comes straight out of New York City. And a lot of people don't think of it that way, so hopefully someday we'll make it our state dance. It embodies pretty much the joy of the 20th century for our country, when everything was getting good. And at the same time, even though it made it through the Depression, the music inherently sounds happy. I know that sounds strange, but it's hard to be depressed to the swing beat. You could be singing, I lost my car, I lost my job. You still feel good. So in that way, you still feel good even when you're swing dancing.
Well, you know what? Reading about it, we're going back to the 20s now, right? And let's face it, it was a crazy era. It was the roaring 20s, and aptly described, because the country was kind of crazy at the time. So you can see how these big bands were forming, and everybody was socializing a lot and dancing and drinking a lot and whatever. But I've also heard that the swing era, swing really helped people through the Depression because it gave them hope. And in the war, of course, in the war effort and whatever, it brings a lot of people together. But again, you think about that kind of music and that kind of dance. It really was very meaningful to our culture during those decades. As happens in the 60s, Beatles and the British invasion, things change, right? Culture changes. But, and you were telling me in the 90s, there was sort of a rebirth in a way, right? Or how do you describe neo?
Oh, definitely. Some people refer to it as the neo-swing movement. A whole idea of lounge music sort of was revisited by a lot of bands.
Yes, that's right.
Then there's movies like Swingers where they sort of focused on that, sort of going out to bars where they had this type of dancing, and that just sort of jettisoned a whole movement of dancers again. There's always been an underground swing movement, and even through the 60s and 70s there was the rockabilly scene and the greasers, and they would have their cars. And that's still a lot of fun, but it really got its heyday after the Gap commercial, for example.
I remember that. That's
everyone
right.
wanted to go back to dancing. It was
Well,
sort of
nobody
fun.
could believe, number one, I remember two things about that campaign. One, people couldn't believe the physical dexterity of the people that were actually performing this kind of dance. And the other thing is they were actually dancing together. Now, there's a novel thing for
Yeah.
you. I was watching a music award program last night, shall remain nameless, that I was watching everybody's dancing by themselves, and I thought they don't even know each other's on the stage, except for maybe some choreography or something. Now, first night, you will be performing, and it's at City Center on the second floor in the meeting room, right?
So David, with the Saratoga Savoy, is going to MC the upstairs meeting room at the City Center. The bands there are Alix Torres and Nitro Jive. So you've got swing and a little bit of salsa, right? And David, with his dancers, are going to be able to sort of energize the room and then guide people through it if they want to learn a few steps and tie those two genres together. It's going to be a great dance hall for sure.
Oh, it is. Again, it's one of the many things that are going on at first night. But, the meeting room up on the second floor is easy to find at City Center, but it isn't like it's just right on the street in Broadway. You got to find it, you got to go. And it's really, the offerings for first night are so diverse, they're so interesting. And lo and behold, we're going to have this amazing person here with his troupe and some real killer swing music.
I have to
dance
say,
music.
I've worked with Nitro Jive. They're a local favorite amongst
Yes,
many
that's right.
dancers, but I've also worked with Alix Torres for years, and he's a Grammy-nominated musician.
That's right.
Their
Great
band
guy,
is
too.
just hot, and he is, as I said, a great guy.
All right, so don't forget. Now, you can still get, that's very confusing about the $15 and all that. You do it.
All right, so you can get buttons right now. They're for sale in a lot of locations. You can find them on our website. Buttons cost $20 this year, but we are offering a 30th anniversary discount at Saratoga Arts' 30th anniversary this year. So if you buy your button online at Saratoga Arts or at Price Choppers, and if you do it on or before December 25th at those three locations, you can get it for $15.
Okay.
After December 25th, it's $20 just like everywhere else, so get them early.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said that because I would have obviously not
Yeah,
get
I got it down.
What about those details? All I want to do is dance now.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do. Well, David, a real pleasure to meet you. Look this up, the Saratoga Savoy Dance Studio right in Saratoga. New Year's resolution, take some dance with your partner.
Yeah.
All right, and don't forget, first night Saratoga.
Saratoga-arts.org.
You got it. Well, you're good. Nice to see you again, Alex. Great to meet you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. All right, to see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.